Now, as an entrepreneur and as a young entrepreneur, you don't know what you don't know, right? So every mistake I made, remember, I got four. Make a $10,000 mistake, quickly becomes a $40,000 mistake. Make a $20,000 mistake, quickly becomes an $80,000 mistake. It wasn't long before I went from 4 to 0. So I had to sell 2 locations, and I closed 2 locations, took the equipment with the 2 that I closed, and I built our Grand Ave location. That one's been open for about 6 years. Got that one off the ground. Again, sold myself to the landlord that I would make it. Hey, yeah, these, and the funny part is one of the ones that I sold, he was the landlord in. And he kind of helped me get out of that sticky situation, got the space released, and had to sell him that, hey, this one's not gonna close, this one's gonna make it, because I'm back to me, I'm focused. You know, Tony can put out 1 fire, he can't put out 4 fires, but I know I can handle this. So sold him on me. Our rent at the time was 30 G's a month. I could afford 10,000, you know, for the members that I had. So $10,000 a month for the first year. I rack up a bill of $250,000. Following year, I'm paying 20 G's a month. Now I rack up a bill of 120 G's. Following year, I'm able to pay 25. I'm slowly building the business back up, because remember, rent is just one small aspect. Well, not one small, it's one aspect of my overhead. Our overhead is 60 G's a month. 30 is rent. Then the other 30 is payroll, gas, water, electric, insurance, and operating costs, right? So the business is making money, but I'm essentially living in the gym, so I can save us whatever money I have. I don't have to pay money for a car. I don't have to pay for shit. I can wake up, I can work, and go back to sleep, wake up, work. My office was literally by the front door.
Were you sleeping in the gym?
Yes, for 3 years, until I moved into the house that you see on Instagram, right? For 3 years, slept in the gym, right? But I'm paying whatever I can, and he sees it, and this guy's a wealthy guy. He understands what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. He sees I'm doing my best. He doesn't evict me. He puts the building up for sale. Can't fucking sell it, because I'm the anchor tenant. So an anchor tenant is the person that's paying the most rent in a property. There's 2 tenants. There's me, and there's a school. An anchor tenant being a no-name gym is very scary, especially when you're trying to buy a building for $8 million. I can go out anytime. What's my unique selling proposition? What separates me from the competition? You know, people, they look at the numbers. But facts and figures are forgotten, stories are retold. And I told that to my landlord. I was like, look, you've done enough for me. You didn't evict me. You allowed me to stay in business. Now I'm floating. Allow me to sell the building for you, because all I have to do is sell myself. Residential real estate is dictated by your comps, right? Your comparable properties in the neighborhood. Commercial properties is dictated by your cap rate. Your cap rate is, you know, is how much profit are you making from these tenants. So I just had to sell myself to whoever's buying this building, because they're not buying the building, they're buying the tenant. So these guys would keep coming in. I would show them the property, sell them on me, sell them why we're going to be different, why we're better, why we're not afraid of competition. We run towards the fire, not away from it. So long story short, this guy named Mayor comes in. Me and him hit him off. He loves the property. He's ready to buy the property. There's a few stipulations in my lease that says I can break the lease and just walk away. I had a week lease. He said, Tony, I need you to amend this lease, because the way it's set up right now, you can just walk away and I'd be fucked. So the bank wants less of a risk. They either want me to put down another $1 million to buy this building, or they want you to sign a new lease.
And this is a new relationship. This is a new person buying the building.
And mind you, I just made it out of the mud. Like, we are just making money now, making maybe $4,000 or $5,000 a month.
You talk about piecemealing and playing chess. You were barely paying the rent in the other place, sleeping there. Now this guy wants to sell it because he wants to be out, and now you got to sell the building for him, sell the new guy.
And so life's all about finding problems, becoming the solution. I had no way of paying my old landlord the $500,000 that I owed him. I said, increase the price by $1 million. He's like, I can't even sell it for $7 million. You mean sell it for $8 million? I said, yes, I'm gonna pay you more rent. So that more rent will equal the building being worth more.
Yeah, the numbers make sense.
Okay, so you'll get $1 million. You'll get twice as what I owe you. They'll make more money per month. And he's like, okay. So he said, this is for $8 million. Now I'm the one selling it, not the real estate agent. They come through, I sell them on me. This guy wants me to sign a new lease. Don't go into relationships saying, what's in it for me? It's how can I add value to this relationship? What can I do for this relationship? What can I do for this person? Don't go in expecting. Just do without. Yeah, do it.
Take.
Exactly. Do without expecting, and you'll be surprised of the magic that can happen for you. Right? So he wanted me to sign a new lease. He's like, look, I'll give you a couple $100,000 to renovate the gym, make it really nice. You know what I mean? And I'll give you a couple months free rent. I'll show you that I'm a great landlord to have. I'm like, look, you don't got to do that. He's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I don't want anything. Give me the lease. I signed the lease. He's blown away. Comes in, he's like, if COVID happens again, how are you gonna pay rent? I'm like, I got this equipment business on the side. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, during COVID, when everything was shut, people needed to work out. That was a problem. I became the solution. All the equipment you see in my gym, I manufactured for myself to cut down my costs. So I already had all of the suppliers lined up. So when gyms were closed, I was importing equipment and selling it. You know, we were selling it from the aerobic studio. We had shipping containers in the parking lot. We were selling it from the parking lot. We were selling it from my girl's house, from the garage. We were fucking delivering it. We were making really, really good money selling equipment because no one had a place to work out. People that are into fitness, they need to work out. So I was like, I'll be fine. I'm like, I'll be able to pay you no problem. They're like, well, what's keeping you from growing this business? I'm like, capital. I'm like, by the time I sell it, I get my money back, pay the factory, get the new inventory here. It's 4 to 5 months. I'm like, I'm leaving millions on the table. He's like, if you
not
had
enough cash flow.
He's like, if you had $1 million, what would you do? The biggest part of success is when preparation meets opportunity. A lot of people, they're waiting for the right opportunity, but they're not prepared for it. If someone gave you the money right now, what would you do with it? You have no fucking clue. You don't have the experience to do anything with it, and you don't have a plan of how to execute. I did.
Yeah. Well,
I had a warehouse, I had inventory, I had what I wanted to buy, so I broke it down for him. Came back a week later, brought his partner. He's like, this guy couldn't stop talking about you since he met you. He says, we need to invest in you. He's like, tell me about yourself. So, sold this guy on me. A week later, they gave me a check for $1 million. We bought inventory, fucking hit it out of the park. Right, and then at the time I'm building our Fearless Hills location, which is the location that everyone knows about. You know, it's huge and it's under construction, but I don't have the capital to finish it because again, I jumped off this cliff. I was like, I'm gonna figure this shit out. I signed that lease during COVID, right? When no one was signing leases. I took a 70,000 square foot fucking building when nobody was signing leases. But again, I played offense while other plays defense, right? When there's blood in the streets, fortunes will be made. No one wanted to sign a lease. This building that I occupy should be 100 G's a month. I pay $30,000 a month for it.
And that's right in Philly or right outside Philly?
It's right outside of Philly, and I locked it in for 20 years. At a 20-year lease. I have 10-year lease, 2 5-year options. So I was like, and I got a 1.5 years rent free. Because again, no one was signing leases. They're not losing anything because no one's going to lease it anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, as I make money, I'll just keep dumping it into the business. I'll build this wall, I'll put the electric in this month, I'll put flooring in the next month.
Piecemeal it.
Yeah, exactly. So then the market crashes, Ukraine gets invaded, and everything fucking goes to shit, right? Any money I had in the market, in the stocks, in crypto, went down to shit. But life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have done what I did next. I went back to them, I was like, look, I want to raise capital. Here's what I'm doing. Here's my grand vision for Fusion. We're gonna be the Apple of fitness. We're not just a gym. We're an experience. We're all things fitness. We have a restaurant. We're gonna have apparel. We're gonna have equipment. We're gonna have the facility. We're gonna sell franchises. Here's the full model we're gonna do. Then he invests $10 million into the business, and we finish that location. We revamp our Grand Ave location, and it literally takes off like a fucking rocket, like a bat out of hell. But again, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. It's called your RAS. RAS is your reticular activating system. When you have a goal set in mind, that's why they say that any great entrepreneur you listen to, any self-help book you read or you listen to, they'll tell you write down your goals. Because when you write down your goals, they become vivid, they become real, and then your RAS, your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that is responsible for finding opportunities where you would normally see obstacles, you're gonna find opportunities. You're gonna start looking around, you're gonna start doing shit to get you towards that goal. So I had that goal, and I had exactly where I wanted to be. And so where other people would see an obstacle, like, oh, everything's going to shit right now. No, everything's going to shit. So investors with money, not buying real estate, but your cash can't sit in the bank. They got to do something with it that's going to bring them back a greater return on investment.
They need leverage
than inflation,
on people,
right? And they need something that's going to bring them back capital. Money is the cheapest thing in the world. Everybody has it. Once you're a millionaire, right? Once you're worth 10, 15, 20 million, well, what do you want to spend the money on? Once you have liquidity in the bank, it's actually not a good thing, it's a bad thing because it's evaporating because of inflation. So they need to put it into something that's going to give them a greater return than inflation. So where most people don't try to raise capital because of the war in Ukraine, because of how shit the economy is, because Biden in office, they needed to put that money somewhere. And I was like, there's no better place for them to put that money than with me.
Yeah, you're your best stock.
Exactly. So I went there. I sold them on me. I sold them on the business. They invest $10 million into the gym, so we can finish our revamp our grand location, finish our Fairfield Hills location, and literally we take off like a fucking rocket ship.